Quick video on the topic because I have an appointment. Hello. It's your first time watching. This is the Queen of Credit, right? And actually cash flow, the Queen of Credit and cash flow. Hello, everyone coming in. So this is going to be a quick video, I promise you, because I have somewhere to be. A couple of minutes, but why I'm cutting up my credit card, right? And then I'm going to discuss AU trade lines real briefly, real quick. But why I'm cutting up my debit card, or did I say credit card? I meant debit card. Let me give the algorithm a few minutes to load up. On Facebook, I'm going to have to decide if I'm going to go live on my personal page or my business page, right? I always back and forth with that. Hello, Jesus. Thank you. You watching the XFL? What's XFL, Jesus? You didn't say NFL, so what's XFL? Let me know if you are YouTube. Okay, thank you, Cam. Getting this microphone adjusted. Hello, Lee. Lee is on YouTube and Facebook. Lee, how you doing, both? So you all come on in, give me the thumbs up. Real quick, why I'm cutting up my debit card, right? Why I am cutting up my debit. Show you the back. I said my debit card, definitely not my credit card. Hello. Kenneth from Texas is in the house. Why I'm cutting up my debit card. So let me give you, I'll drop some jewels for you real quick concerning credit card versus debit card. Now, most of Americans, especially if you follow Dave Ramsey, right, are all about cutting up their credit cards. You know, they're all about cutting up their credit cards. Let me go ahead and cut this debit card up. Now, let me give you a lot of good reasons, right? A lot of good reasons why you should most definitely cut up your bank debit card, right? Why you most definitely should cut up your bank debit card. Number one, using your debit card will not, okay, Jesus. Using your debit card will not build your credit score, right? Using a debit card will not build your credit score. Thank you for the digital love on Periscope. And so a lot of people use their debit cards thinking it's a safer way to bank and make transactions when you never really get out of the ordeal. What's a credit score? Someone on Periscope asked me. I cannot go into detail on this video about what's a credit score. I'm not. Yeah, I did that. I cut it up. I just cut up my bank debit card. Not get into that topic today, Periscope, but hey, follow me on YouTube. I have a lot of video, over 200 videos on the topic. So number one, you get nothing for the transaction. A lot of people might be thinking, well, with my debit card, right, I don't have to worry about the security of, I don't know why people use debit card. Why do they use it? Because you can get insufficient funds fees. I'm trying to think of some reason why people would use a debit card, right? You know, you get insufficient funds fees if the money is not in the bank. Oh, this is what I hear quite often. Because if I use my debit card versus a credit card, and when it's time to pay the balance off in full at the end of the month, right? If the money is not in the bank or I abuse my money, it's a more safer and secure way for me to make sure that the money is in the bank. People, that just requires a mindset change, right? Yeah, debit cards, thank you, Jesus, do not create credit transactions, which will not even help your credit score. And if you keep that money in the bank to pay off your credit card in full every month, two great things will happen. Number one, you will not get any interest rates, fees applied to the transaction, right? You will not be charged any interest rate fees if you just hold that money in the bank, pay it off in full, once your credit card statement comes out. And number 2, you get reward points if you have the correct or the right credit card. So if you have a cashback reward credit card like I have, you get reward points. And what are reward points? Well, they are points. I get cash rewards. Some people have other rewards. I get cash back rewards, meaning I can convert the cash on their card to either pay towards the credit card, right? They're paying me to use the credit card, or what I like to do, what my daughter and I have started a tradition of doing, is planning a vacation with those cashback rewards at the end of the year. So I pay no money out of pocket for our vacation time together that we are making a tradition of doing in December. Okay, someone on Facebook said debit is the difference from your money versus the bank's money's credit cards. Use OPM or TPM, the bank's money. TBM, the bank's money, or OPM, other people money. On someone Periscope, aren't those interests that you get back? I don't know what that means, Periscope, but if what you're trying to say is if you're charged interest fees, if you pay the balance of a credit card off in full every month of every transaction that you made, you will not get charged interest. Or you can be a person like me that have 0% interest rates on transactions as well. Okay, no problem. YouTube, I will get talk about the FICO 10 real briefly. I have somewhere to go. So give me 5 more minutes of your time if you want a better credit and cash flow situation. So straight cash them like Randy Moss on someone on YouTube, straight cash them. I don't know. Cash to me is only valuable if you can use cash to create assets, to get assets, things that'll put more money into your pocket. I tell people all the time that the king of currency is using the bank's money or other people's money, because see, this is what the middle class, they don't fully understand what the rich and wealthy states or says when they, the rich and wealthy say, keep more of your money. They think most middle class think that when the rich and wealthy say it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. And they think that when the rich and wealthy are saying that it's not about how much money you make, but how much you keep, is about being frugal, living life frugal and saving that money. No, what the rich and wealthy mean when they say it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep, is do you know how to pay less in taxes and still be a 6 or 7 figure cash stacker or income earner? Do you know how to keep more of your money from the federal government? I just spoke with my friend on the phone. For example, she's a tax consultant, and she was informing me about one of her clients. The man made about $59,000 a year. The wife worked part-time and had about $20,000 a year, and they had no dependents. Children were grown, no earned income tax credit, and they have to pay back taxes simply because they don't understand the power of a home-based business. And so we're talking about an $80,000 married filing joint income earner family that has to pay $2,000 to $3,000 back on taxes on a meager $80,000 a year between the two of them, because they don't understand how to keep more of the money that they're making. And on top of that, the husband's paycheck, he had an additional about $2,800 in federal taxes taken out of his paycheck for the year. So that's about $5,000 or $6,000 in taxes. So that's why cash is not king, because it gets taxed higher than any other form of income that you can earn. If you get residual or passive income, right, you can be taxed less than labored income. A lot of people, Christians, talk about favor versus labor. Well, I think that's what credit is. That's what credit involves. It gives you favor. You can get more money in 1 hour with credit, right, versus 1 year of labor. Let me say that again. You can get more money in 1 hour with your credit from the bank than an entire year. And some people, it might be 10 years than you can with your labor, right? So to me, credit is favor. So you get tax high from labor income than what you would passive or residual income. And the way to position yourself for passive income is through your credit and use OPM, others people money, or TBM, the bank's money, right? FICO 10. So another thing before I get into FICO 10, I have 3 minutes before I'm signing off. Before I get into FICO 10, Jesus, I was just talking about why credit is taxed less. The money that you can get or borrow from credit is taxed less than money that you can, or cash or money that you can get from a job. And it's taxed higher, and how the rich and wealthy believe in keeping more of the money that they earn or that they receive or they make. But middle class people think that means living life frugal and putting your money in a savings account. And banks won't even give you a high interest to keep your money in the banks. They don't want your money in the banks. You know, they don't want that. They know that every day is depreciating and prices are increasing. So why would they hoard money? Right? You're paying less things with the dollar bill today in 2020 than you were just 10 years ago. So the second reason, besides rewards points, that I like to use my credit card is because of the protection, right? My friend girl, for example, had some fraudulent activity to happen out of her checking account. Every time you use your debit card, you are giving your banking information out to millions and millions of people for hackers, right? So she had this transaction out of her checking account from her bank, and it took almost a month for them to, quote unquote, investigate the transaction and mark it as fraudulent. And then in that month's time, she still had to pay her utilities bills, pay for her son, and all of his sporting activities. She still had to pay for gas in her vehicle. She still had to pay for groceries, go to work, right? Life went on, but her money was tied up for months until the banks, quote unquote, investigated. So I had to loan her some money in the process. With the credit card, for example, I saw a transaction on one of my business credit cards. I immediately called Chase, informed them that I did not make this a transaction, and Chase immediately closed that old credit card account. 2 days later, I received a new credit card in the mail, and life goes on. You know, it's not holding me up. Or when you purchase items with a credit card versus a debit card, on top of getting the rewards points, right, which is just free money to use for using your credit card like a debit card. But if you receive any items, if you ordered online, for example, or now someone on Periscope says credit cards you need to cut up, not debit cards. See, that's the mind of people that, you know, that America has brainwashed, or that the Dave Ramsey followers have brainwashed, because they don't know, they don't understand the difference between credit and debit cards. So Periscope, watch the beginning of this video. And that's what keep people in bondage a lot of times, because they would prefer to have insufficient funds fees for having the thought processes that they've been brainwashed, that using a debit card will help you financially, when it's the biggest destroyer of building financial wealth that they have on the market. Because if you do the research and look at how much money the banks make from insufficient fund fees versus people that the credit card debt of people is running neck to neck. And using debit cards does not provide you security. It can take you months to recuperate your money from fraudulent transaction, and it does nothing to build your credit score. And unlike credit cards, debit card, you can only spend money that you have in your account. Well, you ought to do that with a credit card. If Okay, I'll say this. Debit cards are for people who cannot be financially responsible because you can pay utilities bills with credit cards. You can buy your groceries with credit card. You can use it just like a debit card. And if you are that irresponsible that you will overextend and buy things with a credit card, like go on vacation that you can't afford, um, buy the latest purse or the latest trend, or you can't stay off of Amazon shopping during the day, getting things, then you need to use a debit card, right? You need to use a debit card. But if you overspend on a debit card, you're still going to have insufficient fund fees, which last time I checked is about $40 a transaction. So either way it go, I'd rather use a credit card a responsible way and get some rewards and have protection and build my credit than to use a credit card and get no benefits in return, right? All right, so here goes the question before I break down FICO 10. Thank you, D. Brooke on YouTube said, hit the like button. It's free. What is it? The website for credit repair. I will put the credit repair. I thought Jesus, maybe Jesus is watching the football game. I thought Jesus or some of my faithful followers would be on top of it, put my website in, but I'll type it in on YouTube. It's www.fixmycreditandcash.com. Go to book online. There is a $50 small deposit consultation fee to get a full credit audit. That means I would audit, analyze, look at your credit report. Because you know what, it used to be in the past that people just wanted good credit to buy either a vehicle or a home. But now people want good credit. And that's why using credit cards is so powerful to help build your credit in a responsible way, right? Because now your credit score depends on if you get a job. They're pulling your credit for job offers. You know, people have come to me and saying, my job is pulling my credit and I need to keep my job, or I'm trying to get a job. And they're looking at my credit report. Your credit report or credit score determines what geographical location your kids or your grandkids or your nieces or nephews go to school, right? It's so many things that affect your credit. Your credit score affects how much your vehicle premiums are on the vehicles you drive. That's all affected and impacted by your credit score. You have low premiums for your insurance on your vehicles. If you have higher credit score, and you have higher premiums on your vehicles if you have low credit scores, right? So let me answer these questions. Now, getting into credit can make you wealthy. Yes, it can. The bank's money, OPM always. Great point, Mr. Williams. I love cashback, reward points. I love them too. They're just free bonus for using your credit card like you would a debit card. Last case in point, the new FICO 10, which I think will replace the FICO 8 this summer of 2020, right? And how getting AUTRADELINES will affect that, and how authorized users, when I say AU, because I have beginners in the room too, means authorized users, which means that you just get to benefit off of somebody else's good credit card usage. So they add you as an authorized user. Well, what is going on in the credit industry? The banks in particular that issue credit cards, they are tired, right? They're overexhausted of issuing people credit cards, and they abuse them. So what do I mean by that? Well, when people have credit cards, there's no collateral attached to that. Meaning that at least if you get a vehicle loan, if you don't pay as agreed, right, they can come and repossess your vehicle, right? Or if you get a mortgage loan, thank you for the hearts, digital love on Periscope. They can come, right, and foreclose that house. They have some collateral attached with it. Well, with credit card debt, it's not like that. Or credit card, I don't like to call it debt. Credit card usage, right? Because there's a great difference between debt and credit. Credit is, when used properly, is something, a tool that can put money into your pocket. Debt, when used wrongly, is a tool that will take money out of your pockets, right? So that's my definition of credit versus debt, just like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, has a definition of assets and liabilities. And so what has already been approved, just waiting on the bank's approval, and this is why I think banks will approve it, right? Is because now people use a FICO 8 model or credit score, right? Because you all don't understand, there are many, many different types of credit score. For example, FICO 4, if you want to be at home, if you want to qualify for a mortgage, is highly used by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And so the banks currently use FICO 8 to see if you can get approved for credit cards. And that includes business credit. Well, what's going on is people are using authorized users to kind of give them a boost on their credit score. But I tell people that if you want to know, right, if you should use authorized users, your first form of defense, the first thing you should do is get the negatives removed off of your credit score as well, right? Because adding an AU trade line and you have a collection reporting on your credit report, or you have too many inquiries. And what I mean by too many, if you have 5 or more within the last 2 years, you will automatically get denied for business credit cards. And if you have 5 or more within the last 2 years, you will automatically get denied for business credit cards. And if you have Credit Karma, how good is that for tracking your score? I'm truly a beginner. Let you know if you have any negatives on your credit report. They only use TransUnion and Equifax. Experian is a great tool. Go to Experian website, 𝒬𝓃𝑒𝓃𝑒𝑟 IAN, Experian.com. You can go in there, sign up for free. That way you'll have 2 monitoring tools for free to check all 3 of your credit score. However, just know with Credit Karma, right, that's a Vantage score. So it's not the score, it's not your FICO, FICO, that the banks and lenders will use to approve you or not approve you for a loan, right? But I think it's a good monitoring tool. I especially love Experian because Experian will also let you look in your account and see what addresses you have, right? Reporting that are connected to negative accounts as well. So that's why when I do credit restoration for my clients, I also delete those negative names and addresses. And Experian is the only website that let people see, because once you click on a address in Experian, you go under personal information. When you sign up for Experian, look at the personal information and look at your addresses, right? And just click on, I want to dispute this address online. If you do that, if you say, I want to dispute this address online, and you click on the box to dispute it, if there are negative accounts connected, it will give you the message, you cannot dispute this account online because all of these accounts are connected with it. And a lot of times that's why people can't get collections and negative items deleted off credit reports, because one way that the credit agencies verify accounts is through connecting that account with an old address or an address that you used to receive mail with or you used to live at. Like when you receive a collection in the mail, that collection account is tied to that address, right? And so that's how this works. And so, great monitoring tool, but just know if you go to get a mortgage or a vehicle loan and you say, well, Credit Karma said my credit score, that's my Mississippi tone. Credit Karma said and I'm actually, trying to make it a little country than probably what I sound like. Said my credit score was a 750. So why are you all saying it's a 640? That's not FICO, Fair Isaac Corporation, FICO. So go to myfico.com if you want your true credit score or what the banks will use, especially if you're looking to get a mortgage. So back to FICO 10 this summer. So what the banks are wanting to do is yes, Radico did give me a shout out on Periscope. I thank him so much. I'm going live on Periscope more because of that. So what the banks want to do now, right? Because they're saying, all right, these people are adding authorized trade lines, which when you pull your credit report, it's going to say that that's not your primary account. You're just piggybacking off someone else with credit. And so they want to make sure now that, you know what, we're not going to allow this to be an effective tool to falsify if you have a good credit score. If you are trying to get an authorized trade line right now in February 2020, I would hold, because it can change just like that in June or July in this summer. And having that would automatically drop your credit score, unless I do recommend authorized trade line for these purposes only right now. Because if you don't have high credit card limits and you have over a 680 credit score and you do not have a lot of hard pulls, also known as inquiries on your credit report, let's say you have 5 or less within 2 years, that means when you go shopping and they say, hey, would you like to apply for our card today? If you get approved, you get a 10% discount. Well, that'll count as a hard pull, whether you're approved or not approved, which will also lower your score, right? And so by 8 to 10 points, right? So what you want to do is stop or going car shopping. Someone said they went car shopping at CarMax, for example, and CarMax gave 15 hard pulls on that one car shopping at one visit at one time, right? So that will automatically disqualify you for business credit. And if you have any late payments within the last 2 years. So what you need to do, if you're trying to use the AU trade lines to get business credit, is first see if anything negative will prohibit you from getting business credit or getting approved for a mortgage loan first and foremost. Because just because you have a high credit score does not mean you'll get approval. Now, if everything is good on your credit report and you have low pulls, no inquiries in 5 or less in 2 years, thank you, Stephen, for following me on Periscope. If you're watching on Periscope, make sure you follow me as well. So, and you have no late pays within the last 2 years, no bankruptcies, then getting a high limit credit card, how that will help you, right? How that will help you is that the banks will match your highest limit credit card reporting on your credit report limit to what they will approve you for if all things work out well. A lot of times people just think, okay, I just get a high credit score. No, there are other factors that determine, right, if you will get approved or not approved for a loan or a vehicle or a home that is just not just a high credit score, right? All right, you all, I am over time. So be careful with those authorized trade lines. A high credit score does not mean automatic approval. It just means if you are using, someone added you on their credit card and it has a $25,000 limit. Someone, for example, had their parents added their daughter as an authorized user. It was a $17,000 credit card, but the parents owed over a $3,000 balance on their credit card, right? So you want that balance on the credit card to be 30% or less, 30% of the credit limit, right? So for example, if it's a $10,000 credit card, you want that balance to be under $3,000. I mean, under $900. I'm sorry. So yes, I did say $10,000. So that'll be 30% of 10,000 would be $3,000. If that balance on that credit card exceeds $3,000 for a $10,000 credit card, that still will not be good use of an authorized user because that credit balance is too high. The credit balance is too high. And so this young lady said, I don't understand. I still have a 524 credit score. My parents have this $17,000 card. They're always, and you want to make sure that if you're added to someone as an authorized user, they have paid on, they have good payment history, meaning they have no 30-day lates, right? because that would hurt you more than help you. And she said, why do I still have a low credit score? I have one student loan showing, and I have one credit card that I pay well. I should be over at least a 620. And I told her because their balance on their credit card is too high. Would it be okay, Jesus, to add a younger sister to my credit card? Sure. Jesus, you can add an infant child to your credit card. Did you know that? So if you want to add your sister, right? If you want to add a young lady that I know, I work with, her and her husband, they had a young daughter. She's 6 months old. They have over 800 credit score. They added her at 6 months as an authorized user. So why is that so great? Because their child from the age of 6 months is building history on her credit report. So when she turns 18 and she's able to accurately sign up to view her credit score, she's going to have years and years of history because they started. Yeah, that is awesome, Periscope. They started with her at 6 months. Awesome stuff. I didn't know that until I spoke with them. That's why I'm coming out with a book, because a lot of stuff I know about credit, cash flow, and taxes are from stories of talking to everyday people who's actually living this life. So I did not add my daughter as an authorized user until she was 16, but she still has over a 700 credit score. All of my good paying credit cards, I called in, added her as an AU. Of course, she doesn't have access to it, but now she has her own credit cards, and we are going to use her credit as well to begin investing in rental properties for her. Yes, you can do it just that young. You can add them as an authorized user. Lamar, you have a question. What company was it? I probably looked at it wrong, Lamar. You're so welcome, Margaret Janice on YouTube, for thanking me for explaining this. Mr. Williams on YouTube says, stay woke. Hello, Ad Hinting from Facebook. Hello, Philip from the West Coast. My friend, I love California. I love California, man. That's it. I'm over time, you all. I'm supposed to be at a basketball game at 3:00, and I get so passionate about credit. I'll stay on and talk about this forever. Yep, just cut up my debit card. Gonna use credit card. If you don't understand why, watch the beginning, watch the replay. Are you a CPA? I am not. I am not. Now, I think there is someone else. What credit card companies let you add authorized on the 50? Okay. But back to, am I a CPA? I am not, but I am thinking about taking some classes on taxes. I don't really like dealing with numbers like that. You know, I want to be the great and critic, and I don't want a lot of distractions. But I do know the tax laws better than some tax preparers, right? I know the tax laws. I know how you can get all your tax deductions. And I highly advise people to sign up for my cash flow plan for $80. I was telling the story at the beginning of this video, watch the replay, that a couple that made, under a married couple, $80,000 a year, that had about $2,800 of taxes taken out of the husband's paycheck, still have to pay back taxes because they didn't have any earned income credit, no qualifying dependents. Their children was grown, right, over the age of 21. And some people right now, they have children over 21, and they could carry them as a dependent up to the age of 24 if that child is still in school. But their child is not in college, is not in school full time. So they have children over the ages of 21 that they cannot really get any beneficial dependent or in our income credit fund. And especially like my nurse practitioners, for example, that's their situation. And, you know, the Trump new tax law have taken away mileage driven. And when they used to be able to write off a certain percentage for their uniforms and work forms, that's all gone. And now I plug them into the W4 Wealth cash flow plan strategy for $80. And I also give you tax preparation, meaning that you would get a ballpark figure on exactly, okay, if I adjust, because just know there's a new W-4 this year, 2020. And so it comes with tax planning as well for $80. And you will get a ballpark figure. Okay, if I bring this much money more home out of my paycheck, then what would my tax liability be? So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I used to offer that through a company with my econ, but I changed that because my econ couldn't be pinpoint precise on helping people once they corrected their W-4. And you need to revisit your W-4 every year. They could not give them a pinpoint idea of, okay, what my tax refund or liability may be if I correct or adjust my W-4 this year and get more money out of my paycheck. What would my tax liability or non-liability looked at? So YouTube, I know I have the link in this description when I upload the video, is through MWR Financial Services, and you just call in, you send them 2 months of your recent paychecks, right? And you can automatically, once they help you make that correction, bring home for anywhere $200, $600 a year. And so you're saving on your federal taxes and you're getting business tax deductions that you would not have just from being an employee. All right, so answering this last question from Lamar Fleming. What credit card companies let you add a authorized user under 15? Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. You have any of those credit cards and you have met the qualification that you have great payment history and your balances are below 30% of the credit card limit or the amount, right? Then add authorized users and help my young people build great credit scores. So when they turn 18, they have great credit and they're not pulling themselves up. That's my favorite quote on economic freedom from Martin Luther King. 𝒞�e𝑒, I just got your email. Thanks for visiting my website. They're not pulling themselves up from their own bootstraps, right? Also on my website, you can email me directly from my website, www.𝒤𝓄creditandcash.com. You can send a message and I will get that. I'm on my way out. It's almost, I'm supposed to be somewhere at 3, but that's okay. That's okay. I think this was a very helpful discussion. Cut up my debit card, people. Learn the advantages of using credit. If you didn't get that information, go back to the beginning. Okay, yeah, you're having a baby. If you didn't watch the beginning of this video, you definitely want to watch the beginning. Lamar. Okay, Lamar, if you have that good credit cards, you want to add your baby. It's just simple as making a phone call and say, hey, I want to add an authorized user. This is my child. This is their social, wait till they get their social security number for a newborn. This is their social. I want to make them an authorized user. Or you can go online with some credit cards and add authorized users. Some credit cards you have to call in, and some you can simply go online, right? So if you have Visa, any of those major credit cards, the address, social security number, date of birth, that's all they ask for. And you will receive that card in the mail with your newborn baby's name, once you got all of that, or your niece, your nephew, or your child name, whoever you want to add as an authorized user, and begin to give them the gift of good credit, right? Young, the gift of good credit young. Hey, this is the Queen of Credit here. I hope I help you all out some way. Mr. John Nixon, I'm signing off now, but if you are on YouTube, put the money emojis in. I love that. I love that with the Queen. Facebook, Periscope, do the same thing. They have so many emojis with money and dollar signs and that credit card. Put those emojis in, even on our Instagram after I upload this video. And you all have a terrific Saturday. And I see you on the good side of credit, positive credit, and positive cash flow in your life. Signing off.